you come up with the questions. We have two wonderful crew staff in the audience. We have Felix here this morning as well as Emma. They are walking around with microphones, so when we do come to you, please do raise your hand if you have a question or two. We'll just ask your name, where you're from, and who the question is directed for. So there we go. Right, let's go ahead and meet these wonderful gentlemen. So coming up round the corner, we've got our very own captain, our master of the vessel, Captain Tony. We also have our boatman director, also called Tony, and also our chief engineer, Goran, as well. Come on over, gentlemen. Good morning to you all. We'll start off very easy. We'll start off with simple introductions so you get to know a little bit about us. I assume a lot of you have the Q&A sheets? Yes? Good. There'll be a test at the end. Okay, there'll be a big test at the end. All right. Right, Captain, we'll start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you.
All right. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Captain's Corner. I'm Captain Tony, and I come from Turku, Finland. Turku is the place where most of our ships have been built. However, Anthem was built in Germany in 2015. And right now we are building the biggest cruise ship ever, the Icon of the Seas in Turku. I actually had a chance to take a look at it roughly 2 months ago, and I can say it's really big. It's 250,000 tons. We are 168,000 tons, so you can compare it. So we are 347 meters long, and they are 17 to 18 meters longer, what we are. Wow, okay. So Icon will have 20 decks, 7 swimming pools, almost 10,000 people on board. Also, we are building the Utopia of the Seas. It's being built in France right now, and that is the new Oasis class ship. And it will be first time ever when we are building a brand new Oasis class ship onto a 3 and 4 day cruise out from Port Canaveral. So we have some new ships on the way. So otherwise I'm fourth generation working at sea in my family. My father used to work as a chief engineer, his father was a captain, and his father was a chief engineer. Now I'm a captain, so if I ever end up getting a son, he will be a chief engineer. I guess we are still trying to figure it out, which one is a better position. Otherwise, I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I spent a year in the Navy. Back then, I was not driving the ships. I was actually a military police. Later on, I joined the Maritime Academy. It takes roughly 4.5 years to complete. And I was working on various ships, including oil tanker, icebreaker, ferry boats, cargo ships. And then in 1999, when they were building the Watcher of the Seas in Turku, they had open doors. Always when the ship has been built, they have open doors for the local people. So I went to see the ship, and I ran into a Captain Svein Pedersen, very nice gentleman. So I told him, wow, you really have an amazing, beautiful ship, and actually I would like to work with you guys. So then shortly after I applied, and I got a call in 2003, and I did join as a second officer, the Watcher of the Seas. So now I have already more than 20 years with Royal. I have been working on 11 different ships, and I have roughly 11 years as a captain already. So that is my story. So I hope you are all having a great time and you come up with good questions. And now it's time to see what our king of the basement, our chief engineer, what he has to tell us.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Goran, and during the captain's speech I was thinking which position is better, chief engineer or captain. I think the answer is the hotel director.
I agree with that.
So once we sort that out, so we can continue. So my name is Goran, as I said earlier. I come to you from Dubrovnik, Croatia, also known as the Game of Thrones capital. That's what I heard. I haven't watched the Game of Thrones capital. So as chief engineer on board, I'm responsible for the technical department. So we are responsible for power generation, moving the vessel from point A to point B, water production, air conditioning, etc., waste disposals, environmental aspect, etc. So there's a technical question in that respect, please. And how I started, so I started by repairing motorcycles, and once I joined the ship, I realized that this is a little bit different, so that then was already too late, so I just continued. Joined Royal Caribbean back in 1999, so that's a past century, I guess, so it's running into the 25 years. And still glad to reach that position. I started as a second engineer on a vessel was called Viking Serenade out of San Pedro, sailing to San Diego, Catalina Island. So then moved through the several class of vessel, joined few new builds, Allure of the Seas, Radiance of the Seas back in 2001, Serenade of the Seas, and was participating also in few company projects in between the contracts that I do on board. So that's all about it in short. Next in line, what I like the best position on board.
Quick solution. Morning, folks. My name is Tony. I'm your hotel director, and now that I've been voted the best position on board, what do I go from here? Well, all right. Well, I joined the Navy a few years back. My story starts actually. I'm Italian by birth, Canadian by nationality, and lived longer in Canada than I have in Italy. So I started in my early years when I was drafted into the Italian Navy, and not voluntarily. We had one thing called draft in those days, so you really didn't get a choice. You had to go, and I can assure you that surroundings were not quite as comfortable as what you're experiencing on board. Yeah, stabilizers, Captain, didn't have any. I don't know if your Navy did, but mine didn't. So. I've been with Royal Caribbean now for 24 years. I joined, going on almost 24 years. I joined in the year 2000, and actually this was the launch of the Voyager of the Seas. It would appear that Captain and I have some similarities in there. It was the first vessel in the fleet for both of us. This was an incredible experience. It was a game changer completely. We doubled the size of our largest vessel in those days. And I still remember coming in to Miami, where the port was lined up with thousands upon thousands of guests, of people, rather no guests yet, want to be guests, I suppose. Thousands of people lined up at the shores. We had helicopters over us from media just filming the event, and we had fireboats all around us pumping water. So it was really it's something that is burned in my memory, and it was certainly one of the great experiences in the last 24 years with the company. Other than that, I have served pretty much in every major market that the company has. One of the most thrilling experiences was to work in China, where I was part of the team that introduced our brand to the region, and the rest is history. Obviously, after COVID, we have now been absent for a couple of years, and we are planning to go back there next year. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it on my tenure with Royal Caribbean, and I'll now pass you over to our best cruise director in the fleet, Katie.
Thank you. Right, okay, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Very good, very good. Now it's over to you lovely people, our friends here inside 270, for asking us any questions. So if you do have one, please go ahead and raise a hand. I see this gentleman straight away. We have Felix with the microphone. So tell us your name, where you're from, sir, and who is your question for? Thank you.
I'm Chris. I currently live in Western Australia, Perth. This is a question for the hotel director. I just wanted to know where all the staff got their haircuts on the ship.
Chief Goran, you care to comment on that?
I guess it's something to do with air conditioning.
Actually, believe it or not, we have, in our crew areas, we do have some of our crew members that actually specialize in aircats. And, this is either a learned trade or what they did in their previous lives, but they all find a way. I mean, as you can tell, mine is done regularly, so I just head down there on a pretty regular basis. But truly, we do have some of our crew members, and we do have, barber chairs that are utilized, and there you have it. And it's a pretty lucrative business. There's 1,650 of us on board, so.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Great. I've never in my 11 years has somebody asked that question. I love that. Thank you. Right, behind us, gentlemen, at the bar, Emma is there with the microphone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my name is Ryan, I'm from Poole, England. I wanted to ask a question regarding fog and the foghorns. I noticed it was going off quite a lot last night, so what's the procedure for that? Is it just every so often you press the horn, or is it when you detect something on the radar? How does it work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So yeah, when it's fog, we need to have the signal on, and the signal is automatic and it's on every 2 minutes. Yeah, it's been an interesting cruise. First we had the fjords, so that means we need to have a senior officer, me, staff captain or chief officer on the bridge. And then we thought, okay, we'll have a little bit break now, and then boom, the fog came. So it's been a tough cruise, this one, I can tell you that. So we need to have a senior, more people, more lookouts, senior officer on the bridge. Then we go to either to yellow condition from green condition or red condition. And the signal needs to be on. So that's how we do it when it's foggy. And according to weather forecast, the fog was supposed to clear at 8 o'clock this morning, but that's not the case. So let's see how long it will stay. Who knows?
Okay, all right. In the centre here. Good morning, ma'am.
My name is Claire and I'm from England, Somerset, and I just wondered, when we went up through the fjords, you had pilots on board. Did they take the boat, the ship up there, or do you do it?
Yeah, there is only one place in the world where the pilot takes over the navigational command, and that is in the Panama Canal. So here the pilots are just advisors. But we did have 2 pilots on board, so they stayed on board all the time, and they did their duties on the bridge, and basically they are conning the ships. So that means that they were giving radar orders to us, and then we have one of us senior officers monitoring and confirming the orders, whatever the pilot is giving. Because it's a little bit tricky in the fjords. We were running full speed, so 20 knots, so there is absolutely no room for error. So we need to have several people confirming the order that it makes sense. So there is no room for error. And of course, on arrival to Olden also, there was some fog, so we have more or less zero visibility at some point, just before arrival. So we have had some challenges, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, up in the balcony, just to our left here. Thank you so much, Emma.
My name is Rebecca, and I'm from Malta. And my question is, how do you become a captain?
Well, yeah, how to become a captain? Yeah, first you need to join the Maritime Academy. It takes roughly 4.5 years. Then you need a lot of sea time, so you kind of build up your career. Because I started already when I was, I think I started on the ferries when I was 18 years old. I was still at school, so then I was basically washing the deck, washing the windows, painting. So I started as an ordinary seaman or junior seaman, then you kind of build up with your ranks. Then later on, I started as a second officer. Then after a while, first officer, then chief officer, then staff captain, and then it's a lot of training, similar to airline pilots, what we need to do every year. Shoreside at the simulator center, another kind of training, and you need to pass psychological testing, and it's a lot of things. And then if you're lucky, it normally takes around 10 years, and then you can become a captain. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question. Okay, in the front row here. Good morning.
Hello, my name is Catalina. I'm from Romania. Probably this is a question for the captain, but I think the other officers can also respond. What would be one of the most difficult challenges that you experience in your career as a ship captain or chief engineer or hotel director?
Well, it's always when something unexpected happens. And I would say my worst time was when COVID started. Just first to get all the guests off the ship, and then it was even more difficult to get the crew off the ship. And then, of course, in the beginning, you didn't know exactly how serious it is, all the restrictions, and I was going all over the world with the ships to take the crew back home. So that was my most difficult experience.
Yeah, I would also say COVID, but mine was the next step because COVID was hard everywhere, but I spent it on more spectrum of the seas in Asia. So Singapore, Hong Kong, Shanghai. I think that explains it.
I think we are all on the same on the same point in here. These were extremely uncertain times, and I was actually in the Caribbean for close to 6 months on the Mariner of the Seas, and it was really quite difficult. We were anchored just in the outside the very islands, and we were going into Miami every 2 weeks to get supplies. And one of the biggest challenges we faced was really mental health, and this is very, very difficult to deal with day by day when you are used to have certain liberties, and then all of a sudden you are not able to go home, you are not able to leave, you are not able to really do much other than exist on the ship. So very complicated.
Thank you for the question. All right. Is that okay, wherever you are. Come on. There we go. All the way in the back on the balcony to our left.
Hi, my name is DJ. I'm from the U.S. I know while we were in the fjords, a lot of the people on board were talking about the new rules coming in 2025 and 2026 for the types of ships that can come into the UNESCO fjords. Are there any ships currently in the fleet that would qualify for that, or any new classes planned or coming that might allow those cruises to continue?
Well, we have Icon of the Seas and Utopia of the Seas. They will be operated by liquid gas, LNG. So those ships will be allowed if they can fit in there. That's another story. And before the COVID, we were planning to build something that is called the Destination Class, which is slightly bigger than Radiance Class. But now I haven't heard anything about that, so who knows, maybe in the future we will have some smaller ships with LNG that are able to fit in these smaller ports. Who knows?
I was just wondering how much it was going to cost or something.
Hi, my name is Jim Chen. I'm from California.
Yeah, you can.
And I love the lifestyle of the fjord. I'm very, with the Seven Sisters. And I must say the Seven Sisters Fall was like underwhelming, but I'm more impressed with how you can turn the ship 360 in such a narrow fjord. When the ship is big, do you have to do a special digging, and why? And how can the ship be so maneuverable? Thank you.
Yeah, this ship is very maneuverability is very good. We have azipods, so we can kind of spin even in a very small area. Because nowadays the ships are only getting bigger and the ports remain the same size. So you have seen it in many ports, especially yesterday. That was our most challenging port yesterday in Haugesund. It's the exit from the port, the cut there. So there is more or less no extra space at all. So that's why we had to take the ship off the dock and then back. So it was like an airplane. We stopped and then full ahead because we had to get the speed up to 10 knots. Otherwise, it's moving too much. So, it's a lot of power we have on this ship also. Yeah, it was quite cool. And then, of course, when we were sideways there, then this ferry decided to come. So That was a little bit tight squeeze there. Yeah, it was okay.
Thank you very much. Back with Emma up on the balcony there, front row of the balcony to our left.
Hello, my name's Hallie May and I'm from Somerset, and I was just wondering how much it costs to make the icon on the seas.
I think it's around 2.2 billion.
Wow.
This it was just under 1 billion in 2015. So now icon is 2.2, I believe. Who knows what the final price will be, but
Thank you, thank you. Okay, here in the middle down there.
Hi, I'm Anne and I'm from London. I wanted to ask, while you're at sea, what are your shift patterns like? And do you get a break after each voyage, or do you continue for months? And how do you cope with being away from your families?
yeah, very good question. So I work 10 weeks on, and then I have 10 weeks vacation. So we had a pretty good lawyer, because on the hotel side, they were 4 months on and 2 months off, the hotel management. And then on the cruise side, normally they work 6 months off and then 2 months off, or 6 weeks off, it depends. So otherwise, as a captain, I'm on call 24/7. So I'm not always up on the bridge. Now it was more time on the bridge because of this certain cruise, but I have always a first officer on duty who is representing the captain when I'm not up there. So they work 8 hours on and then they have 16 hours off. But they have a same rotation than me also, 10 weeks on, 10 weeks off. It never really works out like that, but that's always the plan.
Yeah, I do the same. So it's 10 weeks contract. So that means per year we work 6 months, and 6 months we are home. So there are pros and cons on that one. I try to work at home at one point of time, but all what I missed is this 6 months vacation every year.
Okay, can you remind me why my position is the best?
Let's change through the conversation.
Apparently, it swung really quickly. Well, no, we do work 16 weeks on board and 8 weeks of holidays. There are lots of reasons why. The most important one is continuity. Whether our marine brothers and sisters have a very structured, work routine. Ours is a little bit more flexible, I would say. We have, hotel has the largest workforce and one that changes continuously. So we have some, very robust training programs on board. We have an HR position that takes care of all of that. So that, really creates that level of continuity that is necessary to maintain the product sustainability.
Okay, beautiful. All right, back up on the balcony all the way to our left.
Hello, good morning. My name is Srivastava Desai. Actually, I'm from India, but I have lived in England for over 50 years. Firstly, I would say I congratulate that you organized this. I've not been on many cruise ships, but this is very interesting and fascinating to listen to your group. My question is, I have not been doing many cruises. Seeing bigger and bigger ships being built and more capacious, and naturally, in this day of environmental consciousness and the global warming, what do you think will be the future of these cruise ships in the future? Say in 10 or 15 years' time, how you will cope with the problems and the global pollution, and what is the commercially, how viable it's going to be?
Yes, so since 2020 we already have a sulfur cap in effect. So that means that the emissions are strictly controlled. So there are certain areas in the world where we are allowed to have emissions up to 0.5% of the sulfur, and in certain areas like we are sailing now, it's 0.1 sulfur. So what Royal Caribbean did, that all the ships we retrofit the so-called scrubber system. So we are cleaning our exhaust gases in order to meet the rules and regulations. And of course, if you are not able to do that, then the next step is you are changing your fuel to more cleaner fuel. It is marine gas oil, which is naturally has a low percent of the sulfur. So that's step number 2. And then step number 3 is that, like Captain mentioned earlier, that our new ships are coming and are going to be fueled with the natural gas. So that's the direction so far. I don't think electric will take place on such a large objects like we are. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's not really smoke that is coming out from our funnel. It's called plume. So it's kind of like a steam. So we are not choosing a new pope every day. You can see it's like smoking. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what Captain, thank you, Captain. What Captain just mentioned is because in our stack in the towers, we are basically cleaning our exhaust gases with a huge amount of processed water when we are in port. When we are at sea, we are utilizing the sea water. So the cold sea water is meeting the exhaust gases, and of course that's why you have the evaporation and you see the white effect, which most of the population consider as a smoke, but it's not smoke. It's a plume, it's an effect, and we have the monitors in each stack which monitors the concentration of the gases in order to meet. And those monitors are calibrated on an hourly basis. We are under the classification society, so we are monitored and audited for such.
Great question, thank you. Are there any others out there? Anyone that would like to raise their hand and ask a question? Oh, there is another one on the balcony. We do have one down the by here, so we'll go with Emma to our left here. We have another one on the balcony.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Norfolk, England, and I just wondered, talking about your emissions, what about the waste system? Is it all recycled now, or do we still dump some brown waste into the sea? I just wondered how that's coped with these days.
Okay, so when it comes to the waste, let's start first with the water. So basically all the water that goes up to the staterooms, it's collected as a waste. So if it comes from the shower, it's called grey water. If it comes to the toilet, it's called black water. Laundry water, galley water. So all this waste is treated through the so-called advanced wastewater purification system. This is something similar like we have back home in the cities. So it's a combination of mechanical and biological treatment. So all the water goes through the set of filters. Then we have tanks where we call it bioreactors, so where the bacteria lives, and that's aerobacteria, so it needs air, compressed air in order to live, and bacteria is cleaning our wastewater. After that, we have disinfection system through the UV lamps, and then depends if we are at sea and 12 nautical miles away, we are allowed to discharge such. And if not, we are collecting in our treated wastewater tanks when we are in port, and we are only allowed to discharge it at 12 nautical miles. Basically, we are allowed to discharge when we are 4 nautical miles from land, but we as a company, we always try to do above and beyond, so we are discharging it even further. And the water, what we discharge, it looks like a clean water. Hope that answered your question.
Amazing, thank you. Okay, up on the balcony, thank you.
Hi, this is Randy. I'm from the United States. I haven't been on a cruise in a while, but I think I saw something different than I've ever seen before. Normally when we're in port, we use the engines for electricity, but it appeared that yesterday we connected to Haugeson's electricity, and the engines didn't start up till around 6 p.m. Is that correct? And is that happening more?
That's correct, but that will depend which port has capability to supply us, because yesterday, usually our port load is single engine running, and our power consumption at that time is around 7 to 8 megawatt. So not all the ports can provide us this, but this ship is equipped with a so-called shore connection. So what we did yesterday upon arrival, the team from shore came, they connected the power cables to the shore connection, which was very close to the gangway, so you were leaving the ship next to the power cables. And once they connected, then we were running the engine in parallel, synchronizing, then our engine was stopped and the all power was coming from the shore. So that's how they can ensure basically that yesterday while in port we were having zero emissions up to around 6:30, 7 o'clock when we start the process back. So we basically started our engine, synchronized it, ran our own power, and then disconnected the cable and then left the port. So that happened yesterday, and unfortunately this itinerary was only port where this was provided. In most of the ports, we remain on our own power.
Thank you. Okay, Emma, 2 I left.
Morning. You talked about the new fleet moving to liquid gas. I have a slight theoretical question. Has anyone ever considered moving to nuclear power in the future? Obviously, it's quite clean energy and maybe it has a bit of an image problem.
I leave this to hotel director because he was in the Navy before. I really don't have any information on the nuclear, that for what reason, or it's safety, or that's mostly what I know, it's mostly the Navy vessel that operates for years on that one, but the cruise industry, there is no information that is moving in that direction.
Yeah, I would say no, because it's also the regulations in the port, so I don't think the ports is willing to take a cruise ship with nuclear power if something goes wrong.
Right, speaking up on the balcony in the centre here. Thank you, Felix.
Hi, my name is Walid, all the way from Saudi Arabia. Thank you for your time. 2 quick questions. Yesterday between 8:30 and 9 p.m. when we were dining, I noticed a small boat that came in close communication with the ship and then it sailed away for about like a few minutes. I'm just curious what was happening. That's one. 2, maybe if you can recall a striking event or situation that happened on board throughout your careers that's still stuck in your mind and you had to deal with on board. Maybe a medical condition or violent behavior or whatever.
Pirates, I think they were pirates, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah. All right, yes, so this boat, that was the pilot. That's what I mentioned on the PA on departure, that the pilot will be leaving around that time. So we have 2 pilots on board, and they left. So it's a local regulation in every port. So before departure, pilot comes on board, and then once we have exited the pilot passage, then pilots are leaving. Well, I was part of the new build team on board the Oasis of the Seas in 2009. We were building the Oasis, and then on the way back to US, we ended up in a big storm. So we had a really rough seas. I would say up to 15 meters, 40 to 45 feet. And we didn't have any guests on board at that time, but we had more than 2,000 contractors crew on board, maybe 3,000. And the ship was taking the swell very well, but the lifeboats didn't like it so much. So then we had to modify a little bit things. So that was the roughest sea I have ever been.
I don't recall really a striking condition, I would say, but I think 50% of my job is engineering and 50% is psychology. So I think I should get a master in psychology after being 24 years here, because it's all about human behavior and how we approach and understanding each other. That's how you mitigate what you just say when it comes to crew and duties on board.
One of the most challenging events that I experienced was actually in China. We were coming back to Shanghai, and halfway up the Yangtze, one of the feeder vessels with containers overturned, and they lost 45 or 50 containers. And at that point, all traffic was stopped because containers move around, some of them sink partially, and therefore the navigation was not safe. So we actually had to be at anchor for 3 days before they managed to locate all of the containers, and this was very, very difficult to explain to our guests. Coupled with, of course, when you have communication issues and in language, it's very difficult to put it across. Although we had the Chinese staff captain, but it becomes an item of credibility. So we were able to leverage the pilots that we had on board. But it was really, really difficult.
Very nice, thank you so much. Okay, in the back here with Emma in the centre, thank you.
My name's Tasha, I'm from Reading in England. I just wondered, you mentioned a bit about mental health during COVID and being a psychologist. What is the mental health support like on ships, and what Royal Caribbean offer?
That's a good question.
If any.
Maybe it's a cruise director can take this one.
Well, no, we are, jokes apart, we are well supported by our head office. We have telepsych consultations that can take place if we have concerns. Of course, as a group on board, the executive committee is always available. We encourage definitely our managers to be alert. It is part of the onboarding information that everyone is provided. It is not only in critical situations, when you are faced with challenges, but as an ongoing basis, because we spend a lot of time away from land, we spend a lot of time away from our families, and that is always top of mind. So we provide a number of services that reflect on that.
Yeah, we have some online trainings also. All crew members, they need to do this psychological online training. It's called See Something, Say Something, so we kind of keep monitoring each other. Also, we have the human resources manager on board. His door is open all the time, so if you have a problem. We do have 3 doctors and I believe around 5 nurses as well, so the medical facility is also available. Then we have a hotline number, so you can call Sourceside directly to our head office. We have some people there, so we have quite a few things in place.
Just to add, what added the weight through the COVID was that depending on which region the vessel was, the joining and leaving the vessel, sometimes you may end up 15 to 21 days in quarantine in a hotel or on the vessel before you should start working. So if you have a shorter contract, that means that multiplies through the year as well.
Great, thank you so much for the question. Okay, behind us at the bar.
Good morning, I'm Kelly Stephen, we're from Manchester. We absolutely love Royal Caribbean ships, so my question is to every single one of you, which is your favourite ship and your favourite itinerary so far?
Yeah, my favorite ship is actually this one, because I was here filling in roughly 2 years ago and absolutely fell in love with this ship, with all the high techs what we have. My favorite place is this 270 here. I absolutely love this robot show here and everything else, and it's really nice. Entertainment is really great, so you can be here or you can be in the main theater, and dining options, also the specialty restaurants, and I like this one. I've been on 11 Royal Caribbean ships, so I have something to compare. And itinerary-wise, I like to spend winter time in the Caribbean and summertime in Europe. So it's especially in the Mediterranean, the Greek islands, and so on. So I really like. Next cruise also is one of my favorite itineraries, going to Canary Islands, where is my second home. So I like those ports a lot.
I like nature, so I would say Alaska, and this was my first cruise in Norway because I came from spectrum of the sea. So I like nature and fjords and Alaskan scenery, although it's challenging for us because it's early arrivals, long maneuverings, but I prefer the nature ones. Yeah. And the class of the ship, I used to like Radiance class because the time they came out there was with the most glass, but then I would agree with the captain that this class is good as well, and so I prefer this one.
Yeah, unquestionably this class of ships is by far the best, although I have a really soft spot for one of our vessels that is no longer with us, and one of the smaller ships that did a lot of world cruising, but more importantly was able to get into ports like Venice, which is an absolutely magical experience. If you've ever done that first thing in the morning while you're coming in through a little bit of mist, there you get the Grand Canal there. It's absolutely magic, and that was the old Legend of the Seas, which is still around. A couple of years back, I saw her in the Greek Isles. She's now sailing with, I can't remember the name of the company, but yeah, she's still around and looking beautiful.
Amazing. All right. Well, our next question.
Yes, we're up in the balcony,
Oh,
so
you
we're
are.
side all the way here.
Okay. Over to you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Carl from North Wales. I just wondered, have you ever faced a situation where whether military exercises or anything unrest in that respect, and how would you deal with it?
Well, we do get these notifications all the time. If there's a military exercise, then we need to stay away from the area. So it's very clear communication, all these notices for the mariners, alerts, and so on. But I remember during the COVID, we were trying to get some crew members off in Colombia. It was one of the islands that belongs to Colombia, and the Navy vessel came and they didn't want to take these crew members. So they said that now you need to leave, or they will take action. So that was the closest I have been to a Navy ship.
Wow.
Yeah, frankly.
Okay. We do have time for one or two more questions. Felix, there's a lady right here in the front with that question. Two ladies, in fact.
I'm Isha from Southampton. I'm Sue. And when I was at home, I was looking at YouTube of like storms and things like that. And you see like deck chairs flying. The passengers are safety first. But with the crew, do they try and save like the deck chairs to save passengers when it's an unexpected storm?
Well, yeah, normally we keep monitoring the weather, like even yesterday we knew that we will get some wind later on, so then the birds, we are contacting the hotel department, and then normally the housekeeping is sending these people to secure the deck chair. But of course, sometimes you are at sea and you have looked at the weather forecast, and then suddenly you get a high wind, so then we need to be quick. We need to send people to secure the chairs. But I'm getting a weather update from Shoreside every hour. What is the expected weather forecast? And then we do have a weather man also in the head office in Miami, Mr. Craig, who is monitoring the weather. And we have a situation room also in the head office in Miami. They are monitoring the weather, the security incidents around the world, and everything else. So I'm in contact with them all the time.
Fantastic. Two more questions. One more down the front here, and our final question with Emma. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Anita from London. How do you feel about dispensing with the life jacket drill when you first came on, against showing customers now a video? Do they take that as much notice of a video than the actual drill?
Well, actually, we do show you on the stations. When you attend the station, we do have one of our crew members. Okay, you are directed to the station that you would attend if there was an emergency. When you come on board, we have a team that is making sure, it's going to make sure that you have actually seen the video, okay, and you understand the dynamics of what is needed in case of an emergency. But in addition to that, we have a crew member on the station with a life jacket that actually shows you how it's put on. So this is the process that we have in place. And I'll tell you, although the traditional way was obviously to gather everyone on the stations, and then we would impart that, the instructions and what have you. The number of incidents that took place while guests were actually coming down the stairs, going and attending those stations was actually quite significant. So this was a way for us to still make sure that you are receiving the necessary instructions, but certainly in a far more convenient and safe way.
Thank you for your question. And our final one with Emma in the balcony up to our left.
Hi, my name's Kaylee. I'm from the UK near Norwich. Obviously, this cruise, I think a high proportion of what's been amazing this week has been the crew that have made it possible. From shopping, catering, the poor staff that had to serve me cocktails this week. I was just wondering, you mentioned there's a human resources department. For each of your team, What are the most unusual crew roles you have, or the members of crew that we probably don't even know are on board at the moment?
I'm sorry, I missed the most unusual.
Most unusual roles on your team?
Oh, roles? Well, I mean, we cover all aspects, obviously, of hospitality service within the hotel environment. Some of the items, obviously, that you don't see is back of house services. There is a huge amount of activity that takes place, whether it be on the culinary side, where 250, 260 chefs are preparing 10,000 meals a day. So that in itself is quite a very, very interesting but very complex operation. We have been at this now for many years. So we have all the processes well tested and lined up. Training that goes on, as you mentioned, through our HR group, as well as training and development that we do on an ongoing basis. Our crew members are hired, obviously, for a couple of very significant traits. One of the most important ones is their ability to be friendly and engaged. And the other one, of course, they're hired for the profession that they're in, whether they be a waiter or whether you are a manager in one of the areas, and so on and so forth. Development never stops, because as they are brought in, then there is a career progression that takes place during their tenure, and we tend to. As it happens, next year we have 2 major ships that will be launched, and that represents roughly 7,000 to 8,000 crew members that have to go to those two vessels. So our one of the most important aspects of what we do on board is to do training and have some of our crew members ready to go to those vessels, and then we replace them with new ones, and the process starts all over again. But it's never a dull moment for sure. From our marine colleagues, is a little bit more structured, as I mentioned earlier, because of licensing and a lot of other aspects that are critical to what they do.
Well, I would say that I have the most interesting position here, because I'm not only the captain, I'm also a priest. So I have a full wedding marriage license, so I can do weddings in international waters. And my next wedding is going to be the day after tomorrow at sea. So if you want to get married, let me know, and maybe I can give you some discount.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your questions. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. Thank you to our captain, chief engineer, hotel director. Thank you for your time also.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I know there's a lot of companies and ships out there, so I'm really happy to see you here. So have a great day. And normally I say tomorrow it's time to go back to the cold UK weather, but that's not the case, because today they have 30 Celsius, and tomorrow it will be up to 27 or 28 Celsius, so that's 82 Fahrenheit. So enjoy the beautiful weather tomorrow also once you get home, if you live there. Thank you, and now we will stay a little bit behind there by the main entrance if you want to take a picture or need our signature or something, so we will be there. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.